What's going on, guys? I finally made it back to Pittrace for a track weekend, this time running with the group Gridlife. This is my second event ever at Pittrace, and the weather stayed mostly dry this time. Unfortunately, I ran into a couple technical difficulties halfway through the event, so I had to call it quits early. I'll talk more on this later. The footage you're seeing is from my second session of the weekend, which also contains my new personal best. For those of you who are unaware, I'm tracking a 95 Firebird that makes about 350 wheel horsepower, weighs around 3,350 pounds not including the driver, has some suspension and brake mods, and is also on RE71 RS tires. I'll drop a link to my setup vid in the description if you're interested.
The next lap was just weaving through traffic with a black flag at the end. I pit in, but it turns out that the flag was meant for someone else, so I get released right away. I get to chase the C7 Grand Sport on my outlap, and right after this I run my new PB. was up by about a half second before getting held up just there. The advanced and intermediate run groups were combined into one, so that's why traffic hasn't been flowing as well as it should be. I'm also having another problem.
My brakes feel fucking disgusting right now. I think these wheel spats are fucking me up. I think I gotta take them off. I made some makeshift wheel spats for the car, and this is my first track day using them. The spats are supposed to direct air away from the tires and wheel wells, which should, in theory, reduce front end lift, but I'm afraid less airflow in the wheel wells is actually causing brake fade. I take them off and go out for the next session, but unfortunately I still have braking issues. I do manage to run this 202 though. So that's the end of day one of the track weekend. I bleed my brakes after this with some fresh Castrol SRF, and then I returned the next morning. Traffic was pretty bad in the first session because everybody was pretty groggy, but this lap was pretty clear. Also, check out the view. It looks really nice with the HDR on.
horrible again. I don't know if it's the pads. I don't think it's the fluid. I bled it last night. And honestly, like I bled it 2 days ago. I bled it right before I left. It's gotta be these pads. I drove out to the Summit Racing store after the session and picked up a set of Hawk DTC60 front pads to replace the EBC SR11s that were on there. There wasn't enough time to swap on the Hawks before the 5th session, but it didn't matter anyway. I noticed grip had been declining over the past few sessions and I wasn't exactly sure why. I suspected it was from the drift run group leaving debris all over the track, which was partly true. But it turns out that my RE71 RS tires were dying and the 5th session finally finished them off. 3 out of the 4 were corded on the outer shoulder and my weekend was pretty much over at this point. Sucks to suck, I guess, but I did make it home without having to call a tow truck. I guess this means I'm going back to Pittrace next year because I really wanted to get a sub 2-minute lap, but it just never materialized. If you look at my optimal for session 2, it was a 2 minutes flat 0.3, so I know the car definitely has it in it. I know I also have a ton of room for improvement in terms of my lines and my braking points, so I don't think it should be an issue. That's all I've got for you guys today. Catch you on track next time.